hope all y'all having a blessed day. It is a very cloudy and dreary and dark day here on the mountain. The chickens got a little bit of outdoor time in between the raindrops. So they had a good time, and the kitties were taking cover. And I now see that we have at least 6 baby kittens, at least. There's 3 gray and white, and then I have seen 3 white seal points. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed and praying to Jesus that those kittens make it and nothing gets them. They are currently living underneath my living room. I have a crawl space under my house, and it's in multiple sections, so they're in there, and I still see them out playing at times, keeping my fingers crossed. We are here with our next little project, and it is going to be another stuffed potato chip block, and this one is going to be called a double pinwheel, and I have taken the liberty of doing the 4-inch size so you can see what we're doing. Now this, I am not pleased with this or the secondary pinwheel color. It just, in my opinion, is not working. So when we do the 8-inch together, we will be picking another fabric. And this is foundation paper piece, and you will find the link to the pattern in the description down below. It will be over on in my coffee shop, and it will be free to download. So just add it to your cart and you're good to go. And I did want to say that the 4-inch block was all in just 2 pieces, the pattern. But the 8-inch block was a bit too large for the paper. I had to put the last triangle as a separate unit. All right, so we are going to cut out our foundation paper piecing templates. Okay, and our pattern does have these little nipped corners, and you do want to make sure that you take them off because it will help you to align everything. And now the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to take our pattern wheel, which kind of looks like a cowboy spur, and we are going to trace out all of the lines on our foundation paper because it will help you see where you're going to put your fabrics, and it makes it real easy to fold. And again, I'm going to trim these pointy edges so that it's easier to line the pieces up when you're ready to sew things together. And now we're going to do the same thing for this side over here. We are going to start with the white fabric and then the medium fabric, then a dark, then a medium, and then a white, and finally this dark. And that's the order that we're doing. Okay, so I'm going to take my white fabric, and we want that to be, or face down, I should say, right side down. And now we are going to fold on this perforated line. We're being generous. And now we are going to add the medium color piece here, and I am choosing to trim it now so I know where to line up my medium pieces. And we can stick a pin in here if you like. And now we're going to cut a piece of medium. Okay, and we will need a second piece. Okay, and now we are going to do right sides together here. And we just want to make sure that when we flip this over, it covers the piece, and it does. Give it a good finger press. And now we're going to fold it back and trim it to 1/4 inch. And we can trim this down also, so it's not in our way. Okay, and now we're going to do a dark piece, and that dark piece has to be the same as this, so you can use that to cut. And now we're going to do right sides together, and we're going to flip it to make sure it covers the piece, and it does, so that's good. And now this will be the next piece that we're going to sew on. So we're going to fold back on the perforated line here, and we're going to trim this back and right sides together. And you can see this perforated line here, so yes, that covers. Now we're going to trim this. All right, and now the last piece is going to be a light color. Okay, that covers everything. And yeah, I think that's good. It works. It really is a big help to have a bright light near your sewing area so you can use the light to line up your pieces. And I'm going to make sure that covers, and it does not. So at this point I say, okay, I cut off another scrap and I sew it here. Okay, so you just take the paper out of the way. That's called poverty piecing, and that way you don't have to tear all the paper off and start over. Okay, so now that covers everything, and we flip this away and we use our ruler and trim everything up. All right, and the last piece that we're going to sew on will be a dark piece, so we're going to cut that out, and we're going to pin this just to hold it together. And we're going to match up these little nicked corners so the pieces line up. I'm going to trim this down so I can line up the pieces. And now we can line up those little edges that we nicked. Get to sewing these together. All right, and there we have the first side. And we're going to trim it down to the seam, all the seam allowances, and then we're going to sew the two units together. And this block, center block, will be done. And that's a tip. If you have a 1/4-inch ruler, never use the thin edge to cut. Always use the thick edge, because you don't want your rotary cutter popping up over that tiny edge and slicing and dicing things that shouldn't be slicing and dicing. And you can see that that's the way they're going to go together. Okay, here is our block, and I am going to go iron it, and I'm going to peel all the paper off, and then we'll come back and we'll do the potato chips. Okay, I made a major boo-boo. I thought I had pressed the record button, but I did not. So I will just walk you through what I've done. I took this over to the ironing board. I sprayed it down with starch. I gave it some tugs, and then I trimmed it down to 8.5 inches. And then I had already sewn the units, the 2-unit and the 3-piece unit together before I started the video. So I sewed the 2-piece unit to the top and bottom, and then I sewed the 3-piece unit to the side and 3-piece unit to the other side. So you didn't miss much. And I did go over the business about holding the piece up if you have any fullness, and let the feed dogs and the presser foot work in the fullness for you. And I am going to go give this another good spray starch, and I am going to give it a good press. Alrighty, everybody, here is our finished block. Again, this is called the double pinwheel, or at least that's what I'm calling it. And I'm very happy with it. It looks really nice. It's striking. And, you know, from the back of a galloping horse in a heavy fog at night, you won't be able to tell if, you know, your points don't match, because my points don't match. But that's okay. That is okay. And it will still make a very striking and beautiful quilt, and it will keep somebody warm, and it will make them feel loved. And that's the whole point of quilting, not to be hyper accurate with your points. And I mean, if that's what floats your boat, then go for it, go for it. But if you're just trying to have fun and make something pretty that you can, you know, give to somebody, then that's what you do. And if you're a beginner and you make a mistake, I have been quilting since the 70s, and I make mistakes all the time. So you don't want to know about when the camera was off and I made several mistakes. Even though I had already pieced the 4-inch block together, I still made mistakes, and that's okay. And don't worry about it. And if the piece of fabric can't be reused in the same project, then you can save it for another quilt, a Kawandi quilt, or a Boro, or a City, or any of the other types of, you can do, Boro is a Japanese version of Kawandi, and it is done with beautiful sashiko stitching, and you have the edges raw. And then there's another version of it that is a Kantha, and Kantha is another Indian version, and again that's done with raw edges but with straight lines. And you know, you can use all sorts of little itty-bitty scraps, and they don't have to be square or rectangle, they can be triangles. You can sew some triangles together to make a patch, and you can use that piece of fabric. And I do want to tell you that I am working on a new pattern that will be available in my shop, and I'll be making the blocks in videos for you. But if you want the patterns, you'll have to purchase the pattern in my shop. So it's going to be paper pieced mountains and raw edge applique flowers, and it's going to be for the back of your sofa, or hang it over your sofa, or use it as a table runner. I'm still waiting on the fabric to arrive for me to make the production piece, and I am writing instructions and putting all the patterns together. I'm running low on the jelly roll that I used for this stuffed potato chip series. So I don't know how many blocks I will have enough fabric left for. To do the 4-inch and the 8-inch stuffed potato chip block, I need 26 pieces. And as a reminder, your potato chip pieces are 2.5 by 4.5 inch. So that is the size you need. If you're making a regular potato chip block, you need 18 pieces of potato chips to put that together. And if you're using this pattern where you have a 4-inch and an 8-inch, you need, for this one, you need 10 pieces for the 8-inch block, and you need 16 pieces for the 4-inch block. So I do hope you will give this a try. I do hope that you will consider coming over to Coffee and joining me. I have several levels of membership over there, and you'll get access to exclusive patterns, including the birds up here. Oh, it looks like one of them fell on the floor. You'll get that, and I do have lots of patterns and items for sale over in my shop, and I would love it if you would stop over there and take a look at what I have. And again, consider a membership. And also, if you would enjoy joining me over on Discord to show me any projects that you're working on, or if you have any questions and you need help, I would love to be able to help you out. So you can join my Discord and share pictures of your quilts. So I hope you enjoyed this block, and I hope that you'll give it a try. And I want to thank you all so very much for watching and commenting and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do go down there and hit that little subscribe button, and then click the bell to get all notifications so you don't miss a new video that I put out. I hope you all have a very, very blessed day, a very, very blessed week, and I will see you right back here at 70 Acres Studio with our next little project. I love you all so very much. God bless.
Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy.